This is Stacy McKibben with the Master Communicator podcast, where CEOs, senior leaders, and C-suite executives share their advice. It's 6 questions in 9 minutes because the best leaders know how to share their ideas concisely and quickly. Let's jump right in. Question number 1. In a few sentences, please tell us who you are and what you do.
I am Jack Timmons, owner of Jack's BBQ restaurants in the Seattle, Washington area. I'm an ex-high-tech guy, worked at Microsoft and places like that. And several years ago, I went to BBQ Summer Camp in the Meat Sciences Department of Texas A&M, came back to Seattle, started doing barbecue parties, and it just took off. And now I'm a restaurateur.
Oh my goodness, what an amazing story and journey. And I'm sure you have quite a few things to share with us then about leadership and change based on those few things. That's awesome. Well, so as I'm thinking about leadership and change, that leads me to my first question for you, which is, what's the best thing about leading people through change from your perspective?
Well, the most fun we've had this last year during COVID is just trying new things. So trying crazy ideas has been very fun for me and for the staff because I encourage failure. A lot of things we tried didn't work out. We tried a Christmas market where we sold meats and pastries and all that kind of stuff. And it was fun for the guests, but we didn't make any money. We also tried like a fried chicken ghost kitchen out of one of our restaurants. Same ingredients as the barbecue, but we fried chicken and sold that as a separate restaurant name for all our delivery services. So just trying everything we could possibly imagine to stay alive and encourage my staff with enthusiasm and to have no fear of failure because it was crazy times.
Oh, I love that. Encourage failure. I mean, we hear that all the time that you have to fail your way to success, and you experience more failures than successes along the way. Have you found that to be true?
Yeah. I mean, we're not afraid to try anything. We had a restaurant at the baseball stadium for a while. That was expensive, but fun. We turned down an opportunity at the airport because of the expenses and the costs and everything. But in the same hand, the fried chicken business has taken off and we're looking to open a Tex-Mex restaurant this year as well.
Oh, that's so fun. I love hearing all these awesome ideas. So I'm curious, as you think about that then, what piece of advice would you give to other leaders about implementing change?
Well, what I've done in the past is come up with all these great ideas like, let's have brisket hamburgers on the menu, and everybody would scramble to get it done, but it was a bit chaotic. So what I've done is create a template that says, okay, here's everything we need to do to launch a new idea or a new product. We have to have the research in the kitchen. We have to get the purchasing done for the products. We have to train the staff. We have to do the marketing. So by creating a checklist and making it much more organized, it's become a lot smoother. And instead of me just throwing out ideas like a million miles an hour, it's now we have a more of a programmable model for doing that. So just being organized and making sure you do everything, and also making sure you communicate to everybody involved. I talk to my managers and assume it all happens. Make sure everybody gets communicated to in a very simple way, but a very thorough way.
Well, and I like that because from the perspective of leadership and authority, you often find that when the leader speaks, everybody kind of jumps and hops. And what you're saying is if I'm not careful, then they run and hop in a bunch of different directions without having the ideas fully baked out.
Exactly. So for me, it's been a case in patience, which I've had a challenge with my entire life, but now I've got it dialed down to where my enthusiasm is still contagious, but we work through it in a much more sustainable way.
Methodical way. I like that. I resemble your patience challenge. It's tough to contain myself sometimes. So over the last year, and I'm not sure if you've been experiencing this or not, but I've been hearing from a lot of other leaders that they've just been really struggling with the remote leadership element, where they've just been having a challenge of not having people all around them right there to do kind of that walk-by management or to bump into them at the water cooler. I'm curious, did you experience some of this remote challenge over the time period? And if so, how did you handle it? And what were some of the things that you saw during that time period?
I mean, we haven't had a remote challenge with our own employees because we're still at work where barbecue is essential, it turns out. And so we've kept the doors open and everything. I do have times where I'm traveling where I can't go to all 4 restaurants, and we'll have meetings. And the meetings are very organized now. It used to be kind of a loosey-goosey, here's our weekly meeting with the manager to go everything. But we've got it dialed in now to where we go through the P&L and we go through all the numbers. And then we also talk about what has happened in terms of our pillars of our company. And our pillars are authenticity of the food, you know, real Central Texas style barbecue, Southern hospitality in terms of service, and then the experience in terms of the music being right, everything being clean. The engagement with the customer isn't just service, it's more about making a relationship with them and making an experience for them so that they want to come back as a repeat customer. So now when I have my remote meetings with my staff, we've got a very well understood thing that always ties back to the key pillars of the company, which is important. So everybody in the company now knows the pillars. They know what we're all about and what we have to do.
You make me think of that quote. They very rarely remember what you say, but they always remember how you made them feel. Everything you were describing there was really bringing up feelings of, you know, feeling home and safe and that comfort. So I just love that kind of experience that you're generating for folks.
Yeah. It's been a weird and crazy year, and one of the things that's been different is that you do. I talk to my staff in a different way. It's not like, hey, we're growing the business and we're doing this, we're doing that. It's more like, you've been wearing a mask for 14 hours and you've been handing brown paper bags of food to people because we're just to go for 4 months until we're allowed to have dining again and stuff like that. It's a lot more sensitive and a lot more caring. Like, we're all in this together and we're all trying to help each other get through this. So it's a lot more
Compassionate.
a lot more compassionate. Exactly.
Yeah. So as you think about that, then what daily practice would you say is most important for you as a leader? What's your non-negotiable?
What I've learned, the best value I can add at this point is just being present. It's just going to the locations, saying hello to everybody. You know, they all like seeing Jack. I'm like dad, right? I'm the old guy now, and saying hello to everybody. And then likewise with the customers. Like, if I show up for lunch and dinner and talk to customers, it's just a better experience. People, when they go out to eat, they always want to talk to the owner. And it's fun for me, and I've got relationships with my customers now for 7 years. Is how old we are, and that is the most important thing I can do. Is just touch base with everybody and be present.
I love that. That's awesome. So as you think about your area of influence and where you get your ideas and support from, who else should be on the show, right? What other successful business leaders like yourself, Jack, should we be paying attention to? Where should we be getting our influence from?
Well, there's great, like, Seattle is a town of chef-owned restaurants. We don't do chains here. There's not a single chain restaurant in Seattle. They want to know that it's authentic, that there's a chef back in the kitchen who's excited about what they're doing, you know, and stuff like that. There's a famous chef in town named Tom Douglas, who's had 22 restaurants at one time. That all disappeared off the map because his restaurants were downtown, you know, near hotels and stuff, and downtown dried up because of COVID. Now he's doing new things, and he's doing different kinds of ideas and stuff like that. He's the father of the restaurant industry in Seattle.
Wow.
Nicest guy you ever meet. He's treated his employees better than anybody else had. Every employee always has full healthcare benefits, college tuition help, and everything like that. He's kind of the go-to guy in Seattle for the restaurant industry. And another guy who has a brewery down the street from me is Manny Chow, Georgetown Brewery. And he's got a beer that travels nationally called Manny's IPA. It's one of my favorite beers. And he's a delightful gentleman. His brewery is down the street from my restaurant. So funny thing is, like, if we have extra breakfast tacos, we make breakfast tacos with our barbecue meats in the morning. If we have leftovers, I'll take them down to his place, and his guys will give me some growlers of beer, and I'll bring them back to my guys. So we've got a great relationship, and he's built this amazing business over the years that's been sustainable. Like, it's not a lot of restaurants, a lot of energy. After 5 or 6 years, the owners are completely exhausted. You know, they flip the restaurant over to somebody else. They go lay down somewhere and recover. He has kept it going for 15 years, 20 years. So he's a great guy, and he's grown the company. You know, he switched to cans when when all the restaurants shut down and stuff like that. He's an amazing guy to talk to.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much. I'll reach out and try to introduce myself and see if I can't get him on the show. That would be incredible.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Jack. It's been such a pleasure to meet you and to learn your ideas. I'm curious if somebody wanted to reach out and introduce themselves, how might they find you?
I've got like 20 social media accounts and all that. To be honest, the best way to reach me is just to email me. And I'm jack@jacksbbq.com.
That's awesome. Well, my audience knows I'm going to have that contact information right below in the description, so they'll be able to reach out very easily. I do hope you come back and join us again. I'd love to have a repeat guest on to hear more about your ideas. So if you would, join us for season 3 when we put that together, and we can see what magic we can make happen then.
I'd love to be back. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Well, this is Stacy McKibben with the Master Communicator podcast. For more ideas and insights, please do go check us out at www.concilioteam.com, and look forward to seeing you again next time. Thanks so much.